So the kids are back at school. Does that mean it's modelling time yet? So hello and welcome once again to New Junction. Now, as you can see, I am painting my layout a rather fecal brown. Now, the warm weather is just starting to peter off, and this evening it's actually raining outside. So as I'm recording, and there's a slight chill in the air. So you know what? It feels like a good evening to do some scenery and some progress on the layout. So here we are. So as you can see, I've got some trains running as well while I'm just painting this. I've got my 68 out with the Mark 5s. My Network Rail snow ploughs have just arrived, going behind the 37, and of course I've got the Class 60 pulling the Drax rake, which is more than enough while I'm doing some scenery. I have to concentrate while I'm doing this in case I paint my walling, which may be a possibility. So the reason I'm painting the baseboards brown is I always start with this, mainly because if there's any gaps in the scenery or as the layers progress, it will leave, ultimately it'll go down to a brown baseboard, and it'll not detract from the eye at all, which is always nice. And I thought, what better way to get a bit of inspiration, get the grey matter working on the layout, than to just get on and do something. And I thought, got the brown paint, got the baseboard, got the brush. Let's paint the next area of the scene, and we'll see where we end up. Right, so I'll let these go past, and I'm as good as nearly done. I'm going to draw the line just at the end of the board here, and then this now gives me a nice blank scenic canvas to bring the scenery up and start filling in the gaps. So yeah, I think while this is just drying a little bit, I'm going to get rid of this brush and move on to a slightly smaller one to show you progress on a project I was working on last time. So if you watched the last video, you will have seen me create this porter cabin, this sort of site office. Now, what I'm going to do very briefly this time is show you how to turn this into this, very simply. So as you can see, we've painted it up, added some signage, and it's really looking the part now. And painting it up actually couldn't be simpler, so I'm just going to show you briefly how I went about it. Pop this to one side. So the first step is to separate the various bits. So I'm going to remove the windows, which just pop out. because it's easy to paint them separately. Just like so. I'm going to leave the door in, although you can pop it out should you wish. So for this I'm going to use a few colours. So I'm using the Rail Centre Ammo acrylic colour range. Now I believe that these work particularly well on MDF. So the main body of the Portakabin is the light grey, which code is R0030. And then for the accented corners, I'm using the medium ash grey, which is R0032. And then for the guttering, I'm using this Tamiya black. And also the window frames are also the medium ash grey. So first things first, I'm going to paint it all light grey. And there we are. I'm going to let this dry for sort of 5-10 minutes until it's touch dry, and then I'll give it a second quick coat, and then we can let that really dry and move on to the accenting. So while that first layer of container paint is drying, I wanted to move on to this area here, which is where the containers are going to go. So the brown base paint is just about touch dry now. It's not coming up. Before it's completely there, I'm going to add some true to scale universal ground cover. Now, nice little packet. As you can see, it's slightly brown and it's sort of very fine, almost sand-like, but I'm going to put that down underneath the container. I don't want big pieces of ballast, hence the small grain I'm going for. And just like the paint, I'm going to go all over all these edges. Now the reason I've gone for this very fine scale, if I can open the bag, this tiny stuff, is because I don't want my Portakabin to be unseated or unbalanced by sort of a traditional ballast size grain. So as you can see, very simply just going to scatter it on the glue. Didn't really need me to tell you that, did you? So while that's just drying off nicely, and you can see all the gaps already showing the brown paint underneath, which is perfect because we get that variation in the scene. I thought I can't just put a site container there because I need to tell the story that it is a sort of network rail area. So I thought I need to put some fencing, and I thought I'd just cut my own. So as you can see, I have mocked up and then made my own fencing, which I've then sprayed grey. Here's one I made earlier, and I've got a handful of pieces which I'll just stick along the back there. I've backed up the train just so I can get the distances right. Eventually, what I think I'll plan is the scene, the landform will come up here and go along, and I think what I'll aim for is to have some form of road crossing across here somewhere, whether it be over here or here. I'm not 100% yet, but that's probably where the story's going to go with the layout. Right, stick some of this in. So while the first handful of fence pieces are drying to the baseboard, I don't want to push my luck by lining up too many in case they all topple over. I wanted to just update you briefly on where we are with the station, the rest of the station. So the first one is that when I first commissioned this from Gary at Cheeky Tech, who does laser cut bridges, he did this to my measurements, which was based on the highest the overhead catenary could be. However, I've since been told how high the catenary that will go on this layout will be, and we have a new bridge to suit. And the joys of being laser cut means it's super easy just to basically redraw it on a computer, recut it, and again, sort of a couple of sheets of plywood and away you go. Now it's probably only maybe an inch shorter. I think it's 5 steps shorter altogether. But as you can see, it makes all the difference. Just hunkers it down a bit more. Again, it's not little by any means. It's still quite high off the trains, but then it gives it just enough room for overhead catenary. So the Mark 1 bridge can go on to being test painted, while the new one joins the station at this end. So what's been going on this end of the layout? Now, I know most of the work has been up the other end, or particularly on a computer, knocking laser kits out the park at the moment. But as we saw last time, I started on the Mary Street flats. Now, this is where I've got to. This is just to show an indication of how big they will be. I mean, this is just the framework and then the lower level, and it'll all be cladded and whatnot. So, I mean, you can see how big it is. And I really want to make a feature of this, maybe push it along a bit and add a slightly taller one behind it. And that got me thinking. So that brings me to the old Premier Inn. Now, this was the low relief set that used to be the backdrop of New Junction in the Loft station. Fit very well. It was made by Paul Chapman of Galgorm Hall. Now it's completely scratch built. But wind the clock forward, oh blimey, probably a good 6 years or so. It's starting to show its age a bit. So I thought, with the my newfound passion for knocking laser cut kits up, I thought we could, using Paul's kit as an inspiration, we could remake the Premier Inn, but with a modern twist. So not only can we redo it, but we can also make it a bit deeper, so still low relief to go at the back of the layout. But as you can see, we now have, because it's deeper, we have areas that we can put rooms in. So from the front, you'll have a lot of places with curtains, and then you can have the odd room with a light on, which can actually have a hotel room inside, and really go to town on the detail. Now, as you can probably see, this is my prototype shell, so the frame for this first section. It's coming on all right, I think. So if I put that there, as long as I don't clip the 60, you can really get a gist of how it's going to look. And I'll add some more tweaks. So this will be covered with the brick textures and sandpaper textures, etc., when it's finished. But you can see I'm slowly, methodically working my way through, trying to recreate Paul's effort. Now, let me say right now, Paul scratch built this, and I'm doing this on a computer, so I can make a mistake and then revert back easily. The talent that was needed to do it in the first place is quite immense, really. There's lots of angles and things, which is proving quite fun to get around. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be quite a nice kit once it's done, all lit up, and at the back somewhere. I may even, if I'm feeling brave, I could potentially change it so where the front will have this is the back, but the back will have a backing, so you can do the rooms from the front. The actual sides don't necessarily need to be this wide, so they could be really wide, and I could turn it into a full-size building. But we'll see how we get on. That's one of the things I'm working on in the evenings when the kids have gone to sleep. I need a new hobby. So as you can see, the town scene is starting to come together with some of the main jigsaw pieces coming in. Now, I know what you're all thinking. it's going to look a bit odd if it's all the same level as the railway. So I'm just sort of thinking out loud now, but I'll probably start a cutting almost, not massive, but just a slight cutting for the railway to disappear in, and then have the town scene slightly higher, and maybe a final road bridge here to sort of give us that sort of scenic break around it all. But still up in the air now. But if you've got any suggestions, do let me know down below, because we've got to tie in this as the scene comes back up again. We've got to tie in the railway going round the city, and then also we've got the heritage line down in the corner. Interesting to see what we could put where. Maybe not the building in front of the path of the 60. So you join me back on my messy work table. Now, as you can see, the light grey has dried. I've done a second coat as well while you were down the other end of the layout. And I've now used my thin Tamiya masking tape just to mask off some of the lines so far. I've also gone ahead and painted the window frames, the jacks that go on the side, and the guttering that go on the ends of the container. All that's left to do is really satisfying. Take your time in masking it up, going over the edges with the dark lines, same again on the roof, and then voila. Now, if you're building this kit, now's a good time while the windows are drying to turn them over, stick the glazing on the back, and then once everything's finished and ready, you can thread them in, and they just pop in nice and easy. Right, for now, we're on to lines. And there we are, now reassembled and stacked on top of each other. We now have the double container set, which I think is looking rather good. Now, it's a very simple kit, but it goes together quite well and then paints up as equally as well, I think, anyway. Now, you will notice I've finished them off with a couple of signs. Now, funnily enough, these come from Rusty Rails Modelling. Now, for those who don't know, Rusty Rails do 3D printed bits for the layout, which is handy. And now, I think you still get it, but with every order, you get one of these, which is a free, basically it's just a plastic card, but it comes with the signage, which is very useful. So I, in this instance, save this and cut the other one out, and I'll save the rest of it for elsewhere on the layout. But no, things like that, you can get it from Sankey Scenics, that kind of thing. Scale Model Scenery, I think, do signage as well, but it really does set them off. So I've drawn up some very simple steps. Now, once again, these just cut out and then go together. And in theory, these are the steps. I've gone for minimal physical stairs, with no gaps, just because it's quite fun art and it adds a bit of strength. But if I come further down, hopefully that's in line with the door, you can see that it goes together quite well. All I need to do now is spray them up and stick them all on the layout. And there we go, the scene slowly is coming together. Now, I'm really quite chuffed. I'm chuffed with the fact we've got the layout base painted, we've got even some of the more detailed scenery on the go with the containers, the fences are going in, etc. So it's a real turning point, I think, for the layout, that we're finally moving this way, which is nice. Now, for those of you at home, if you would like a container, they are available. There is a handful of them. I think there's 5 or 6 at the time of recording. Now, You can buy them individually or you can buy them as pairs, and if you want to pair, I will throw in the steps for free. Now the link is down below, and it is on the Rail Stuff website, so feel free to check that out. Believe it or not, I've put a handful of the fence on there as well. The things I do to keep myself in MDF. Anyway, I want to say a big absolute thank you for watching. A big thank you to the channel patrons and members without whom the lights wouldn't be on. But yeah, I want to say a big thank you to you, and hopefully you're enjoying the behind the scenes content over on Patreon. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this putting this video together. It feels refreshing, finally starting to do the bits I enjoy again. Right, onwards and upwards. I will bring you progress on the various buildings and whatnot as and when. And it's the start of show season as it happens as well. So I will be away, I think, 7 of the next 8 weekends as I'm filming this. First of which is the Darlington Model Railway Show. So if you are heading up that way, do feel free to pop along and come and say hello, or come and see the wares that I'm touting, or got on display, I should say. And yeah, we'll have a nice chat about model railways. Other notes for you: the last episode of the Junctions and Stuff podcast goes live on Wednesday, as you see this video. So if you're watching this video as it comes out, pretty much, the next Wednesday, episode 4, the last episode of our podcast, will be going live. And that's the 4th one. We actually did something special. We went to Chester Cathedral and had a chat with Pete Waterman, and basically just enjoyed a nice day out with making tracks the layout. Right, that's enough waffling from me. I'm going to say a big thank you, as ever, again. I keep repeating myself at these outros. I'm just going to go. I need to get painting. Right, thank you for watching. See you soon.